Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Angel of Death, John Rare. People are always constantly asking for more and more backstory of my career, so I'm going to start all the way back on March 25th of 2000. That was the day that me and RJ, Randy Feckler, decided to start up a backyard wrestling group. It was called Backyard Wrestling Alliance. So during that year, that's pretty much all we did was backyard wrestle. Between me, him, Adam Davis, and we probably picked up a few other ones in that year's time, but it was nothing but backyard wrestling, and it wasn't just hitting people with shit all the time. We would spend, hours out there training. We actually had a DVD called, or cassette, or what is it, VHS. We had a VHS called The ABCs of Wrestling, which I believe it had like William Regal and one of the other guys that was in his stable at that time. Now, remember, this was in 2000, so this was very, very old school shit. And, so my career completely started off, and honestly, that's all I ever thought it would be, was backyard. Now, this was in Pittsburgh, Illinois. So, our original, what you would say dream was, originally, was me and RJ got the information for Dori Fox Wrestling Academy in some part of Florida. So that's where we were going to go train. We had all, intentions on going down there to get trained with Dori Funk. And the reason I chose Dori, was because of my love for Terry Funk. I rather enjoyed Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. And obviously I watched them and, got introduced to them through the Japan videos from overseas. And, of course, learned through them, what was it? It's Stranglemania. ICP, Stranglemania. So, we loved the backyard, and hell, for years, we did nothing but backyard till like 2005, I believe, was when we quit doing backyard wrestling in Illinois. Now, I honestly believe, this is my opinion, that if I would have stayed up north and went and got trained by Funk, that I probably would have actually tried out for Mid-South. Now, everybody knows my opinion on Mid-South. Now, I don't trust, what do they call him? The promoter up there. Can't even think of his damn name. But, me being the northern guy at the time, I probably would have been a Mid-South guy if I went and got trained and, went through that kind of shit. But we all know where I ended up. I ended up in the South. We moved down here in 2005, towards the end of 2005, I believe, during the winter. Now, we did not go down and train with Dori, and that was really my call. And the reason because of that was, I fell in love with my one and only wife, Sheena Alexander. And, at that point, it was, but my intentions obviously was, hey, I'll go down there. Obviously, have to save up for the school, for training. Stay out of, hell, live out of our car if we have to. And, once I met Sheena, obviously, I was more worried about a relationship with her, which was a great investment because we've been together for 16 years now, being just married. And, excuse me. So, over the years, just in Illinois, I wrestled for BWA, a place called The Yard, BWE, EIW. I think that was it. I wrestled for multiple backyard feds back then. So, we kind of tossed out the whole training thing, because, I got in a relationship, I would say about halfway through 2003, I think, to 2004, Randy quit wrestling in the backyard altogether. So, he got out of it anyway. So then we moved down here to technically when we moved down here, we just came down here. We didn't even have a place to stay. We moved down here. I bought a cheap car that I found on the side of the road. An individual was selling. So I bought it. Me and my wife, Sheena, decided to, take our chances, move down here, try to start a new life. And it worked out 100% good. But, we moved down here, didn't have a place to stay. The first night we got down here, we pulled up at the Park Inn Hotel in Irondale, Alabama. And that was basically going to be our spot for the time being while we first moved down here. Didn't have a place to go, didn't have a place to stay, didn't have jobs. We just had the clothes on our back, clothes in the back of the car. We came down here with a little bit of money, just enough to start up, but not enough to start up with any kind of house or anything like that. So we just had the car. But of course, my grandparents found out that we were staying in the car, so they let us move in and stay with them. We stayed on a couch, but hey, it was better than a car. So then me, still not giving up on the backyard, I started a different backyard organization called BWA, which that would be the longest reigning backyard group that I ever ran. And it was called, it eventually would be called Backyard Wrestling Alabama. But it was just BWA, and I even got the BWA tattooed on me. And through the BWA, I met so many fans, met so many other backyard wrestlers that would become, my best friends that I've ever had. And, I never gave up on the backyard wrestling. And, I went to a Wrestle Birmingham show. My friends got me to go to a Wrestling Birmingham show. And, I was actually disappointed in it. And if I can, let me back up. In Illinois, one of the backyard wrestlers, Adam Davis, he literally had to beg me to get out of the damn house to actually go on like a date with somebody. Because all I wanted to do was be at the house, study wrestling, watch wrestling, train for wrestling. Because, I had the video at one point, but all this shit's so damn old. I set up a mattress on the ground and put a dummy on it and would jump off a ladder and record it. And, I would practice moves over and over and over and over. And I'd go back inside, watch it, try to critique what I'm doing wrong. And, I would spend hours doing this bullshit. I wouldn't leave the house. All I was ever worried about was wrestling. And, in Illinois, and let me back up on this, I will be starting my own backyard wrestling channel on YouTube. I would not expect to see it until after the Angel of Death tournament, October 26th in Carrollton, Georgia. and that's going to have so much footage on it. Now, I do want to keep that channel kind of private. I don't want people sharing that stuff. It's just there to watch and, you know, see more of the backyard shit that I've done. But, you know, back to Illinois, we started the BWA, and it was basically me and my wife. And I can't say it a million times that without my wife, Sheena, I probably would have given up on wrestling a long time ago, because when everybody else, you know, bailed or just went on to do other stuff, Sheena was always there, willing to wrestle. You know, me and her, we would just set up a camera on a ladder and go out there and wrestle so many damn matches. I think it was like, there was one group where it was basically just me, her, and Adam Davis. And it was just us constantly, because nobody else wanted to wrestle no more. You know, this was Illinois. We was wrestling in the fucking winter time. Snow on the ground. And, you know, we kept doing this over and over and over. And, like I said, I've got years upon years of backyard wrestling behind me. And, you know, of course people hate on that shit. And I try not to even mention it. But I know that some very good people came from backyard wrestling. And, you know, definitely I ain't one of them fucking guys. I'm happy with who I am. I know a lot of people hate the John Rare character. And it's okay to hate the John Rare character. If you don't like me as a wrestler, that's fine. But the John Rare guy, John Rare myself, I'm one of the best people to know. I've given opportunities to people that didn't deserve them. I've put over people that didn't deserve to be put over, you know. I've taken shows for no cost just to help the promoters out. You know, I've done everything that I could to be a stand-up guy in the business. And, you know, definitely people shit on me a lot, but, you know, it's whatever. You know, you don't have to like me. I'm alright with that. I don't like it, but I'm alright with it. Whatever. What the fuck? You know, what can you do about it? I think, honestly, I would have been a lot more liked if I would have got trained by Dori, and if I would have been a Mid-South wrestler. You know, if I would have broke into Mid-South in 2005, look at who I would have been in the ring with around that time. And, you know, when I was on the indie circuit here in Alabama, before I met up with Kevin Brandon and IWA Deep South, nobody ever shit on me. You know, everybody liked me. I was getting bookings. I was doing, you know, the average indie wrestling every weekend. I'd be traveling with Action Mike Jackson. I'd be wrestling Joe Hogan. I'd be on Wrestle Birmingham. I'd be at these random ass indie shows all over Alabama. Nobody gave a shit. You know, nobody was shitting on me at the time. I was just an average wrestler out there, you know, doing what I've always done. Come and do a job, get paid for it, go home. And obviously I wasn't getting paid too much back then. Half the time it was $5, hot dog, $10, handshake, you know, bullshit like that. But a lot of people said I didn't pay my dues, but I traveled for fucking years and did that kind of bullshit. And I never bitched and complained about a spot in wrestling. So, you know, like I said, we started BWA when we got here in Alabama. And I had 2 different wrestling promoters reach out to me and say, hey, why don't you come get trained through us? And we think that you can be pretty good. And, you know, this was while I was doing backyard wrestling. So, you know, people reached out to me. And, you know, yes, in Illinois, I started a gimmick called Thumbtack Jack. At the time, not very internet savvy. I was a kid. I was like 16. There was obviously a real Thumbtack Jack. So I went by Thumbtack Jack in the backyard for years. Until, like, MySpace came around and I found out that there was a real Thumbtack Jack who I eventually met, and we had, you know, we talked and kidded around about it. But I used the Thumbtack Jack gimmick in the backyard. Had a black ski mask. But the minute I found out about the real Thumbtack Jack, I actually changed my name to Mad Jack, because I did wrestle like 1 or 2 pro shows as that. But, you know, I found the information out that someone else was using it, so I changed my name to Mad Jack. And, you know, that was Carnage Cup 5, through IWA, which was supposed to have been my debut match with Kevin. But, you know, Kevin didn't book me for Carnage Cup 5. What happened with that is I was booked for Carnage Cup 5 to deliver the ring through Joe Hogan. And Joe was the one that said that me and Talon, one of my fellow backyard buddies who trained to be a pro wrestler, could have a match that night. And, you know, apparently he did not confirm that with Kevin. So when I got there, you know, we delivered the ring, set up the ring for Carnage Cup 5. And we were talking, you know, I was talking to him about our match, and he said that there wasn't enough time or space on the card for us to have a match. So obviously I was pissed. Talon was pissed. Because, you know, hell, that would have been our biggest show ever. A Carnage Cup. And, you know, let me say this, before this, you know, I was on Wrestle Birmingham, which was big here in the South. So, you know, this Carnage Cup was huge for me. I wanted this damn match. And, you know, we didn't get it. Kevin said there wasn't enough room on the show, so me and him sat in the audience. But Kevin, you know, obviously he knew we were pissed. And this was like Kevin's first time ever meeting me. So, you know, he really didn't know me, and I didn't know him. He actually paid us more, because we were pissed. He paid us more to sit out of the show, not wrestle, and, you know, just be fans. So that night, you know, I got to hang out with some of the wrestlers after the show. Got to talk with, like, Nick Gage, Danny Havoc, Sexy Eddie, Vortex. I sat and chilled with a little bit, talked to him for a while after the show, and just got to know him a little bit. And, you know, that's kind of when I was like, you know, I do want to do this kind of shit. I want to do the hardcore. I thought it'd be pretty fucking cool for the pro. You know, hell, and it was actually Big James Mayhem who kept kind of encouraging me to do this kind of shit. Him and a former wrestler in the backyard that was named Bullet. You know, they told me about IWA when they were running in, like, the Pell City area. You know, they were like, hey, they're doing the same hardcore shit you're doing in the backyard. Why don't you go up there, meet Kevin, and, you know, get paid to do this crazy shit? Because everybody knew me from the backyard. I was doing crazy shit all week. We actually had the TV series, Real TV, come out to one of our shows and record us. So we got noticed through multiple, you know, elements while we were in the backyard. And, you know, that shows you that we were getting noticed by multiple things while we were just fucking having fun in the backyard. And, you know, yeah, BWA was a backyard federation or backyard gimmick, but it was ran so businesslike that, you know, other backyard companies got in touch with us to do joint shows. You know, CBW got in contact with us. I think it was HIW got in contact with us. You know, these other backyard groups wanted to be part of us because, you know, for one thing, we had fans that would come out to the shows. Sometimes we'd have nice crowds out there. Sometimes no one would come out. But, you know, sometimes there would be multiple damn people out there just to watch our show. And everything was always recorded. You know, we have hours and hours of footage just in backyard wrestling. And, you know, it was through the backyard that got me noticed, got some of the other guys noticed. Like Big James Mayhem, he actually tried out for a different group before me and Talon ever did. And, you know, for the longest time, like my wife, she was saying that I was selling out going pro. And, you know, we always said, you know, hey, backyard's the real shit, you know. And obviously, you know, we didn't know about death matches, and now that we do, I went pro. But this was just a little bit of the story of the Angel of Death, John Rare. I will come back later, do another one. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a little something. But, hell, don't hate the character.